the district governor and the past district governor, fellow Rotarians, and visiting presidents, of course, and my own president. Mr. President, don't worry about mixing up Zambia and Zimbabwe. Seriously, when you look at the 2010 World Tourism General Assembly, which will be held in Victoria Falls, it is a joint venture between Zambia and Zimbabwe. And so you are very consistent with the future. Having said that, let me recognize the presence of my fellow Zimbabweans and other guests who are here tonight. And I want to end my salutation with the rare privilege of welcoming, back home I would say is my younger brother. I qualify to say so because of the flags of wisdom on me. Honorable Minister, we are thrilled to have you here. And the tourism angle to the Chikuku project by way of this impending visit by the Rotary Club of Westminster West is ample evidence that your presence here could not be more relevant. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in this terrible habit of reflecting on some of the ordinary happenings in life, and sometimes I end up developing new insights on fairly important matters of life. Take, for example, what happened on Wednesday. I'd gone to our regular Rotary luncheon, and on my way back, I realized that I had a couple of letters in my pocket that I needed to dispatch, to post. And I'd nearly forgotten, but I then remembered that my Home Affairs Minister, who is sitting next to me, had insisted that I should not forget to do so. And then luckily I did remember just in time. So when I got into the post office, there were hordes of customers. You know, these days you are queued by these little tickets. So I looked at it when I punched the counter services, and it came out. And what did he say? I had 39 customers ahead of me. And I wondered whether I should stay or leave it until some other time. But then I had to remember what the Home Affairs Minister said. So I stuck it. While I sat there waiting patiently, I noticed that everybody who went forward to the counters, just like those who sat beside me, had lots of mail. And as I looked through the mail that I had access to, not one continent on this planet did not have letters being posted to it. And I suspected it must have been Christmas mail. So I started wondering how amazing this post office and the postal system as a whole must be as a sorting machine. Those letters going to Canada, those going to New Zealand, those going to Zimbabwe, those going to Zambia, those going to wherever. I said, well, it must be a fantastic sorting machine. But then reflecting, I said, but is it the only sorting machine in life? The answer eventually was no. That helped me wait for my turn. And I tell you, at the end of it all, the 39 waitings I had to make ended up me being actually called twice. My ticket was being called twice because I was now carried away in the reflection. And in that reflection, I stumbled over what I thought was one of the most common and sometimes notorious sorting machine. And I will explain this. I have a little I told you I like ordinary things because they, to me, they define the ordinariness of life. I have a little diagram to demonstrate that. And I'm using an ordinary clamp to hold it. I've been involved with education for quite a few years, and that is what I targeted in that reflection. Those who can I started looking at the education system. Basically, one could say the world over. They offer education, beginning with preschool education, primary education, secondary education, tertiary education, tertiary vocational, and I do put there life. And what I have in red here is society. And for me, this is the largest and sometimes the most deserving of criticism. And if you combine the formal system of education with the kind of education we offer in our homes, in our society, that is informal education, you do have the kind of life that we all have experienced. The diagram here is deliberately secular. Imagine this was a rotating platform with two decks. What happens is that students begin with preschool, having left society, that is in the individual families and in society in general. As they proceed to primary, you begin to see these little black things appear. These are black holes. So this platform is not terribly efficient. There are some individuals in society, the students, who begin to fall through. Sometimes they're called dropouts, whatever it is. As you go into secondary, the phenomenon gets even worse. You have so many people who fall through. Fortunately, this is a double layered platform. The bottom one has no holes. So whoever falls through is sure to be trapped by the one at the bottom. You go into tertiary, you have even more holes. And at the end of the day, it delivers back to society. What does that mean in actual fact? All those of us who are here today, you can ask yourself just who you are, and the answer relates to this. You have gone through this master sorting machine. You may be a lawyer, you could be a university professor, you could be a prosperous business person, you could be whatever you are. You have gone through this sorting machine, and it has delivered you to some Zambia, to some New Zealand, to some Canada, by way of offering you a particular destination. Now, our problem as society is that we tend to focus on the small. It all begins with schools being put on these so-called leagues, and we tend to focus on those who are scoring A's and B's. Those who are not, well, they are falling through. And at the end of the day, we know that we have the homeless, we have the needy, and so on. I argue that sometimes it is because they've been allowed, too many of them have been allowed to drop through these holes. But I told you that the bottom layer has no holes, so it's also rotating in sync with the top deck. And at the end of the day, all of them are delivered back, they are fed back into society. And that is where charitable organizations such as the Rotary clubs comes into play to rescue some of these cases. Now regarding Chikuku, Chikuku is also very relevant to this. We are talking of youngsters who have gone through their preschool, primary and secondary schools, but they have not been able to proceed to the formal institutions of tertiary education. But they are part of society unless there is some practical intervention that is adopted in order to make sure that at the end of the day, this sorting machine sorts them kindly. We'll end up with criminals, we'll end up with destitutes, we'll end up with homeless people. Thank God we found the correct and appropriate intervention in the case of the youth at Chikuku, in that in door knocking at the Rotary Club of Westminster West, we got a positive answer. We celebrate the fact that with the initial assistance given, the enrollment has already doubled from 70 to nearly 140. And I understand now the little center has the problems. They are trying to restrict enrollment. And those that have gone through the center have examples of success. We celebrate in that particular area the fact that at least 5 were able to be assimilated in the South African construction industry during the preparation of the 2010 World Cup. That's a plus for not only the Rotary Club of Westminster West, but indeed Rotary International as a whole. So tonight we gather here not only to fundraise for the water tank, which is future project, but also to celebrate the few steps that have already been achieved. I stand here very proud to be a member of the Rotary Club of Westminster West, where we have demonstrable results. I'm particularly thrilled that we have got immense support from the other clubs around us. I want to end on the issue of the visit to Zimbabwe, which is happening this time, today, next week. I thought that Mr. Chairman, Mr. President was going to be reciting the song that I've been singing with them in respect of the visit. It's of course focused on Zimbabwe. I don't want to task the President to come forward and lead us in the choir. You don't do that to your President because he can always say, can I delegate back to you? Then you have a problem. But after our tourism office, led by Felicia, spoke so eloquently and brought videos and what have you to the members and convinced them that it was such a wonderful idea to visit Zimbabwe. We entered into a chorus that we have enjoyed so much. I hope we can restrain ourselves aboard the flight because, certain amounts of noise would not be compatible with the expectations. But, Mr. President, I can help you out. You remember that? Is this the way to Zimbabwe? Show me the way to Zimbabwe. Sweet Zimbabwe waits for me. Sweet Zimbabwe waits for me. When the day is dawning on the Zambezi River, I become nostalgic. So please, anyone here, this is the way to Zimbabwe. Show me the way to Zimbabwe. Sweet Zimbabwe waits for me. When I think of Nyanga and its panoramic landscape, I we feel nostalgic. Please do help me. Is this the way to Zimbabwe? Show me the way to Zimbabwe. Oh, sweet Zimbabwe, wait for me. Sweet Zimbabwe, wait for me. Is this the way to Chikuku? Whenever I think of Chikuku, I want to appeal to your generosity. Is this the way to Chikuku? Show me the way to Chikuku. Oh, sweet Chikuku, wait for me. Oh, sweet Chikuku, wait for me. Na 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 na. Oh, sweet Chikuku, wait for me.